This is part 2 of the whimsical Jingle Joy mini album construction video. The first video cut off. I don't know why, but it stopped recording and I noticed it. So I was in the middle of coloring the gnome and I think I had laid in just some of the darker shades for the ribbon. And then when I realized it wasn't recording, I had taken the white stickles and just did a very thin layer of that for the gnome's beard and put it on the star and just a tiny bit on the top of the ribbon, if you can see that, where I thought the light would be reflecting and it would look kind of pretty when it's in the shaker. So because the stickles take a little bit of time to dry, I'm going to put that with the construction elements for the shaker, and I'm just going to move that to the side. And very soon we will put that on the front cover. In the meantime, I'd like you to grab your kit for the mini album, and I'm going to have you apply the ribbon to the mini album so that we can put the paper over it and the ribbon will be hidden. You'll only see it coming out of this edge on the back side and from underneath the shaker on the front side. So what I'd like you to do is take the pieces off of the front cover so we can get to the front cover, and go get a ruler and pause this if you don't have one already with you. When you're ready, go ahead and take your ruler, and I'm going to measure from the bottom of the cover up 2 inches. And I'd like you to just draw a little pencil mark where that 2-inch line is. It's not going to show, it's just a guide. Actually, draw a second mark for your 2 inches. And then connect those two and make a straight line. And really all that's for is so that you have a good visual of where the ribbon is going to be placed. Then turn your book over, and I know you've got the back page that you're going to have to move out of the way, but turn your book over carefully and measure up from the bottom the same 2 inches. And this time make a few lines across the bottom. And I think I had already started because I see a few pencil marks there. Then connect those and make a straight line. Now we're going to need to tape the ribbon onto the book. There's a couple different methods you can use to do that, either with a wet glue or score tape. Either one will work. I'm going to use score tape because that's what I've been using as I've been creating the albums. Wet glue will work just as well. You might just have to wait a little bit longer for it to dry, but whichever you have is fine. So I'm going to take my score tape and I'm just going to follow it along that pencil line and tear it on the front cover. And then I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to put the score tape on the pencil line on the back and tear it. Now, the ribbon that came with your kit, I cut pretty long. I think you're going to have plenty. What I would do first is fold the ribbon in half, find the middle point, and take that middle point, remove, hold on to that so you know where it is. Remove the front of the score tape, the tape over the adhesive, and lay that ribbon right across where you put the score tape. And then it's going to hang over to the right. Turn your book over and do the same process on the back. And I should have had my pokey tool here to get the tape off, but there we go. I got it. Okay. So now take your ribbon and go right across the back where you've placed that score tape. Now, turn it back over. When we put the book together, then the ribbon is going to be underneath your paper, and the only place you're going to see it is going to be coming out of the shaker window and coming across the back of the book. So that's done. All right, so now we're going to actually start applying the paper. I'm going to move these side to side instead of up and down, just because of the, there, let me make sure they're both in camera view. Okay. So with your either tape runner, or you can use wet glue, you're going to have to remove the paper clip at this point. Keep it to the side. It's yours. Don't throw it away because they're just amazing paper clips. And take your black paper, that's what's going to go on the base here, and apply your adhesive. So I do a pretty good job of getting the adhesive on the front cover. You know, I don't use it sparingly, I guess is what I would say. And I left just a small border. It's probably, I'm guessing about a 16th, no, it's probably a, yeah, it's probably a 16th of an inch to a 32nd of an inch. It's just a, you're just going to see a very small bit of the craft paper all the way around the front. I'm going to save this piece for a little bit later, and we're going to save the decorating until we can actually put the shaker on. So let's go ahead and open up your book, and we'll go to the first inside page. Okay. So the first inside page is what I unclipped when I opened it. You've got this raspberry pink color, and that'll go right on your cardstock. You can use either side, a little bit darker on one side, a little bit lighter on the other. I've chosen to use the darker side, and that's going to go on the inside front cover. The spacing is going to be about the same. If you look at it, just center it. Make sure you don't cover the crease where that's been scored. Make sure it'll open and close. If you cover that scored line, then you're not going to be able to open and close the book. So that goes on first. The next piece of this is then to build the little ornament. So I am gonna start this, and then when we put the shaker on, it's intended, the shaker is going to line up exactly with the little ornament. So get your tape runner on the white circle that's in your kit, and wherever you put it, make sure that it comes out a little bit onto the ribbon, because the shaker is going to. And it's pretty much in the middle of that circle, but you can position it however you'd like. So I've got that right on there. And then the shaker is going to go on the front, so that'll actually be covered. Then in your pack of stickers, you should see this double candy cane. And on your stickers, it actually has a bow. You can leave it that way. I was trying to carry through the theme of this with some holly. So I did put the holly leaves on there, and they are in your kit. If you prefer to just leave it as a bow, that's fine. But you do have a couple of holly sprigs and berries that if you want to put on there, you can. I did color them, and I did put a little bit of red stickles in the middle for the berries, or you could use red beads or whatever you have. When we go back and do the decorating, I did put a little fleck of stickles right here just to make it look like it's a reflection on a glass bulb. And I followed the circular motion here to put that fleck on, but I did that later because I don't want it to be wet while we're doing the assembly. Then this is meant to reinforce the edge right here of the binding, this green. I'm just going to go ahead and put that on really well. You might even want to use score tape if you still have it out on this, because the binding does get quite a bit of use as you're opening and closing. And just make sure that you can still open and close the book. I think score tape is actually going to be better right there if you have it. Matter of fact, I'm going to take mine off and put score tape on it. I should have done that to begin with. So let me do that. I ran out of 1/2 inch score tape today, so I need to order more. So as you notice, I'm using 1/4 inch, but 1/2 inch would be a lot better since this is a 1/2 inch strip of paper. So I did my first 1/4, took the top off, and I'm going to do my second 1/4. This just is making it more complicated for me. But if you have 1/2 inch score tape, that's really the ideal. That's the exact width of this. And make sure that's on well and take the top off. Okay, now that's going to stick better on the binding. And you won't have to worry about it later coming off. So I've got that on the binding, and it does still open and close. Okay. The next page is here. Now be careful when you take it apart, because on the back, there are a number of pieces here. So on the front, all you're going to do is glue down your, this was actually a Picture My Life card that was cut down to fit on this page. And I saved, I think it started out being a 4x6 Picture My Life card. If you have the Jingle Joy Picture My Life cards, you would see that in there. And then this was intended to be any kind of a little note that you want to put in here. I did not give you the white sheet. It could be, you know, it could be pictures. It could be someone's wish list to Santa, whatever you want it to be. But in the stickers, you do have a sticker that looks like this. If you're going to put a note underneath it, I would probably recommend popping it up a little so you can slip something underneath there. So I'm just going to attach this at the very top with one of the thin foam dots right here. And then later you'll be able to put something underneath it. But I did move it over to the left. It's not actually centered, and here's why. When this shuts, there's a space, and I kind of didn't want this to show. I wanted it to fit under this flap. So put it, it's about 1/8 of an inch from the left. See that space right there? And that'll allow you to, and I didn't tape it down very well either, obviously, but you will once you decide what you want to put on that page. Okay, on the back page of that, this is where you're going to actually have to start coloring some of your elements. So there's a number of gnomes in here. There's trees, there's packages. Let me put these down here. So this page, the background is going to be the white. And then I notice in my version of this, I've done a number of these. You have a black and white piece of plaid paper that I've cut, and I'm pretty sure I folded it. And then when you open it up, I cut a white piece of cardstock to fit the top, and then 2 square white pieces so that you could put some photos or something underneath there. This package that came is for the inside of this. You can put it on the outside. You know, you can use your own judgment in terms of how you want to design this, but my intention was that this would be a little, just a little spot to keep, notes or journaling or something like that. Notice that this gnome is not taped all the way down because I wanted to be able to put this underneath. So this is really just a tuck spot right here. After you color your gnome, and I'm not going to take the time in the class to color all of these because as I go through the book, you're going to see there are quite a few in here. But after you've colored it, you want to, I would put like a pencil mark on the back, and you only want to tape, or no, actually you're going to use glue. You only want to do the side and the bottom. So I put a little pencil mark there. And so that's because when you lay it down here, and I actually did trim off part of the ear if you look at the sample, you can leave it kind of going over, but it's going to show when your book is closed. So I kind of moved it over and I trimmed it. The glue then only sticks at the bottom and here, and you don't want to use tape, you want to use a glue. Because if you use tape when you do these tuck spots and you put this little notepad, I'm going to call it, underneath there, it tends to stick to the tape. It won't stick to the wet glue once it dries. So I would say color the gnome first, then put your pencil mark on the back, bottom, this one side, it's the left side as it goes in the book. Use your wet glue to glue that down. Cut off the ear right about there. And then put your tree down, and your tree goes directly on. I think I did leave the top open, so I only glued the bottom of the tree. See, that's loose? That's because when I put my journal in there, it does actually go down a little bit under the tree in order to make it stay. Okay, so then I'm going to move these out of the way because I'm going to color these later and finish that element. But then in your pack of stickers, this is a sticker. And you should have a piece of silver glitter paper to put right here. It's not required, but just as a little design element, I did put it there. You also could use silver stickles if you have those and just draw a straight line of silver stickles right there. So I'm going to put that back in. This next page, I'm going to unclip it and be careful because there are items behind it. So let me pull those out so we don't lose those. This is what was clipped to the back. So on the front page, this is a pretty simple page. This was another Picture My Life card, and then you've got 2 photo spots. You could use them as journaling spots, whichever you want to do. So I'm going to first use my tape runner. You could use liquid glue, whatever you prefer as your adhesive of choice. And I'm going to stick my PML card down here. You've got the same, it's kind of the same amount all the way around as what you've seen on the other pages. Mine is a little shorter. I kept this one for myself intentionally because when I cut it, I trimmed it a little short. So this is going to be mine, and I'll fix that. I'll put a piece of glitter paper or something there. Then you have your 2 photo spots or journaling spots, however you want to use them. And so first you're just going to put the white on the pink. Raspberry it actually is on this page. And because, no, this one does not overlap. Put it more to the left, just like that other page. It's going to be the same situation where unless you want that to show, you need to make sure that you're moving it over far enough so that when this closes, because remember, this is stacked, those aren't going to show up. And I guess I didn't tape this down, so let me do that. As I was explaining that little journal element on the left page, I didn't tape the page down. Avoid where it's scored, again. But I think all of these have been cut, so it's going to be a pretty good fit, and you shouldn't have to worry about that, but I would still check it. Okay, so these are straight. I didn't overlap them, but you can. So I went about, it looks like a 1/2 inch from the left and about 1/4 inch from the top. And I did the same with the bottom photo spot. And that's about right there. Okay. So this will be decorated with the gnome and the tree and the little journal area. And then on this page, the sticker that I used is no peeking. Even though they peeked over here, I thought that was kind of cute. And it goes right in the middle here. And we're going to actually cover this, excuse me, this end of the banner with a pink star that's in your stickers. And I almost pulled the wrong one. It's a lighter pink, but it doesn't matter. And I just kind of angled it a little so that it would fit and you could still read the no peeking. Okay, so when this is closed, you do see a little bit of the banner. If you didn't want to see that, you know, you could trim it, but I didn't mind that when I built this, so I left it. Okay, the next page. This next page was on the back, and it's what we unclipped. This is a PML card. It's been trimmed. And then I've got this little gnome with the lights on the bottom because I thought that went well with the ornaments as if he were decorating a tree. So we can put the PML card down, and then you're going to go back later and put the stickles on if you want them. You know, the other way you could have done this is gone in and decorated all the cards, let them dry, and then put them down on your page. But I wanted to be able to show you the assembly, and I thought that was more important. And then you could go in later. You're going to have to keep it open so it'll dry. But then you could put the stickles, and I'll show you close up what I did. And then you're also going to need to color this little gnome guy. So instead of putting him in there, I'm going to use one of the clips and just clip him in, knowing that later I'm going to go back and color him. And he is glued right down. I didn't leave any space to slip anything underneath there, but you can. The technique is use a wet glue, you know, leave a spot open where you want to be able to put a little tuck spot, and then put whatever you want to underneath there. But I'm not going to put him on yet because I want to color him first. But let me hold this up so you can see where I added a lot of sparkle on the ornaments. So like the little ornament holders, I used silver stickles. You have white in your kit, so if you want to use white stickles, you can. And then I put it down here. I put a little stickles just kind of inside, like a half circle on the dots on this little guy's hat. I put a little bit around his hat, and then I just did a little dab on the holders for every one of the lights on the string. I don't know if you can see it, but I did. There's quite a little bit of sparkle on that page. Okay. So that one's done. Now, this next page, you have quite a few cards with this one. And there's 3. And then if you notice, let me explain this page. If you notice, you have clipped to this. I'm going to move this clip over for now because I think there's quite a bit underneath. No, I guess there's not. Okay. This green is intended to be a pocket. You can use either side, whichever color you prefer. So let's first build the bottom part of the page. This is a PML card again. And you can have the arrows up or down. I put them down, but I think I'm going to put them up this time. You could put them this way, I guess. They'd be pointing towards the ornaments. Yeah, I think that, you could, except it would be next to green on the page before it, so you might not want to do that. Totally up to you if you decide that's how you like it. But I'm going to tape this one down. And yes, it's going to leave a space on the left, and that's intentional because I used a PML card and it wasn't wide enough to cover this page. So rather than not use it, because I loved that paper across from this and what's in front of it, I created a pocket. And you can use either side. I think I'm going to use the darker side this time. And take your wet glue, which I don't have right here. So just go around the edge where it doesn't have the thumb hole punch. All the other sides, you're going to put the wet glue just here. Don't use tape because you're going to have things inside that pocket and you don't want them to stick to the tape. So the only part you don't put the glue is right here because it's a pocket. Then put it up against the score, but don't cover the score, and let her stick. Now, because mine is not glued down, I'm actually going to put another, see how these clips are just amazing. I love these clips. I'm just going to put that there for now. Now, for your cards, you have a 3x4 PML card that I did cut a piece of white cardstock to go with. So I'm going to put that on first. You could use either side, but I was thinking that with the green and the pink, I wanted to create a little bit of rest. For your eye, so I made that white. I used the white side. I thought it broke it up a little bit better. And then this one has a sticker that says, "Oh, what fun." So if you want to put the photo under the sticker, don't stick it on yet. I'm going to either use this for journaling or put a smaller photo above the sticker. So I'm going to go ahead and place that on here. And it just about goes side to side. It overlaps just a little tiny bit on either side of the PML card. Now, this little elf, I keep wanting to call him an elf, but he's a gnome. This little gnome is actually the bottom part of a gnome. The top part, I think, is further back in the book. So we're going to come back to this gnome. What I did was I put another PML later where the gnome is sticking out the top, and this one where he's sticking out the bottom. You could put both of them in this pocket if you wanted to, but I chose to put one a little bit later back in the book. So we're going to come back to that. Okay, so this one's going to go back in the pocket, and then you also have this PML card for in here. Now, if you want to turn that into a tag, put a ribbon on it, whatever you want to do. Put a photo on the back, journal on it. It's just going to be tucked in here for you to use however you want. Now, then on this side of the pocket, in your sticker pack, I wanted to pull the pink in because it was here, then it was green. I wanted more pink. So there is a sticker in your packet, and I don't have one right here because I cut it off the sticker page, but there is I know you have it. It's in your sticker envelope, and it looks like this, and it's already been cut to 5 7/8, which is what this is. If you have to trim it after you stick it down, go ahead and trim it. And then you can either add silver glitter paper or some silver stickles and just, make a glittery line here. And then I did go around the thumb hole where I did the punch. I did. And added more stickles. Totally up to you what you want to do. You can go crazy. You can put stickles all over that pocket if you want. Whatever you want to do. Oh, let's not forget these stickles. I did put some on all of the light bulbs. See that? See those stickles? Yeah. I like stickles. You can tell. Okay, let's turn the page. And I had already unclipped, so mine came off, and there was quite a few pieces. So let me show you this. I kind of envisioned this as the center spread of the book, and there's a lot here. So on the left, you've got your gnome that you're going to need to color. You've got your bear that you're going to need to color. You've got a snowman that you're going to need to color. I also, on the snowman, I colored the scarf, but I used the white stickles to cover the whole snowman, just a very light coating of the stickles. And the same on this gnome, I did the white stickles on the beard. I didn't do the mustache, but I think I would like it on the mustache. I think I was thinking because I did the stickles on the hat, I left the mustache without stickles, and it kind of gave that contrast. But you are going to have to color this little gnome guy, and I did pop him up. I don't know if you can see. Let me try. It's hard on the video. There are little thin foam dots underneath there. Okay, so these have to be colored. This is a sticker in your sticker envelope. And you also have the snow, which I cut. It's a hail of snow, which was cut out of white cardstock. You have 3 pieces. And all I did was layer the left side. I put the first piece down. I did not tape the top. And then I slid one underneath it just to give it like another mound of snow. And then I carried it over to the right, and I tried to kind of match up the height so that it looked like it was a continuous flow of a hill of snow. But I would build a page at a time. The first thing you're going to put down is going to be your black. Or I did the black because I figured they were out at nighttime. I know there's bulbs on there, but it still gave me the impression of like an evening of them kind of frolicking out in the snow. On the other side is this plaid. I mean, it goes. You could use the plaid if you want to, but I chose to use the black for the contrast and for the implication that it's a night sky. Totally up to you. So that's how you're going to build this left side of the page. The right side of the page, now I'm going to go back here. You've got, I'm going to move up the pieces I have to color because I'm going to go back and do that later. So for the left side of the page, you have 2 candy canes. And those are his little skis. I thought that was kind of cute. You have a snowman, snow person. I think this is actually a girl. I'm saying she is. And that's what goes here. You have your gnome, which is just like this one, but this guy's on skis, and I made him a different color. And you have your base. So let me move the pieces that you're going to color out of the way. And I'm going to color those later. So you have the nighttime base here. And then this side, as I was looking at this after, I used this black and white side. But as I was looking at this, and you can kind of make the decision for what your eye prefers. But I was thinking if they were out at night, it would be possible that by the snow would be trees. So I honestly think on this one, let me just show you, because I have multiples of these books now. I think I might use that tree side. And then once I have my snow in, let me just show you. Pretend this is the white snow. Then this guy would go here, and the snow girl would go under the snow here. I think that also looks good. So that's up to you how you want to do that. You can use either side. So I'm going to go ahead. I am going to put that down. I'm going to make a decision right now on mine and do the trees. But, okay, so let me do that here. And I really don't want to take this clip off because I know how much there is behind it. I'll be careful. I'm going to hold it. There's a lot on the next page that's clipped together. So I just set that down really carefully. And then I'm going to put the black the evening sky. They're all out playing in the snow. It's like today. We have, I think I have 3 feet of snow. I think parts of this area got 4 feet of snow maybe, or 40 inches, or it's a lot. So they could be out playing in the snow tonight. The next thing I'm going to do is put my photo mat down here. Now again, you have all these components. If you want to arrange this differently, I would love to see what you come up with, because that's fun to see what people do with their elements to make it their own. But this is how I did it. But see, I already made a decision to change the paper, so you never know. So the snow is going to go down here. Leave the top right here open before you tape it down, because I want you to slip that snowman down underneath there a little, so not everything is on top of the snow. See, the bear is coming up the hill. The snowman is in the front. This snow person is kind of in the back. I just kind of made it, you know, kind of flow, following the hills and valleys of the snow. You can put this sticker here. You don't have to put it there, but that's what I did. And then on this little guy, all I did was color the candy canes. Whew. And as I put him down on the snow, I angled them right on top of his feet. So I did the bottom one first, and I can't do it because they're not colored. And then this one, they need to kind of be perpendicular, as if he was on skis and going down the hill, because he's kind of on a little bit of a hill. So that's how that was done. I'm going to take this back off, though. Okay, the next page I said has a lot on it. That's because it's got like a waterfall of flip-flaps. So when I took the clip off, let me put this back in here so I don't lose that. Okay, that's the left side of this nighttime page. So here is this page. So I flip it, and this is what was attached to that clip. There's a lot. So let me just go through and show you what you have first. Okay. You should have, well, here, let's start. At the back, with the biggest piece, you've got let me put the base on. The base is the trees. So that's interesting. So that kind of carries the trees over from the page before. I like that flow even. So now I'm still happy with that decision. You can decide what you want to use. You could use the hearts on this page if you want to. So I'm going to stick that down. Very little border, just like on the other pages. They've all been trimmed to kind of leave the same amount of craft paper showing. Still make sure you can fold that you're not in the crease. So that's good. Okay. The green, you can use either side. I'm pretty sure I used the dark side. I can tell just by looking at it. And so this is what you're going to build your waterfall on. So there's actually a lot of room for pictures in this album. Some of them are 2x2, but there's quite a few picture spots in here. So I'm excited to fill it. It's kind of centered from left to right. So see, there's about 1 inch on either side. And it goes all the way to the top of the tree paper and the bottom of the tree paper. Okay, that's what this green is. I'm going to make sure they're both in the view. Okay. Then you have this piece is right here. Yeah, you definitely can't use the tree side because they're going the wrong way. But it might not, it might be okay if you use the hearts on the base. I'm pointing that out now so you know. So that goes there. The next thing I would do is find your 4x4 photo mat. Now, it has lines on one side and it's plain on the other. So depending on how you want to use this, you can choose if you want the lines to show or the plain. I want to use it for a photo. So I'm going to use the plain side. Okay. And I'm going to kind of put this on so it's spaced very similarly to the bottom piece. It is going to create more of a gap potentially here, or you can move it down if you don't like that gap, because there is going to be a flip flap over it. So I think I am going to move it down a little. Okay, so there's that. Then you have a zip strip, and this is a zip strip on all the Close to My Heart papers. I think everybody that's on knows this. There's a 1/2 inch complementary pattern and color that you can use to decorate with. So because I'm going to put a picture in here, I probably would use wet glue on either end. For purposes of right now, I'm just going to use tape runner to get this down. But I would use wet glue only because it's going to hold it better as you're sliding a picture in and out of there. And I just evenly spaced it, and I left a little bit of a white, a little bit of the white showing. Let me straighten that. It's not quite straight right there. Then you have a tree. You can choose to color it or leave it black and white. This is what I put here. Okay, that goes right here. Now, when you close this first flip flap, the bottom of it's going to show, but the flip flap has trees on it. So I thought, yeah, that looks good. There's a tree here, there's a tree here. You could put the tree on top of the flip flap if you prefer that. I'm just noticing that now. You definitely could do that, but I'm going to move that out of the way because it's not colored in yet. Okay, now you should have a 4x4 flip flap, and you should have, this is a PML card that I cut down to 4x4, and then a white journaling or photo mat that's going to go on the back. And I'm going to use the photo mat side because I need room for pictures. So just a quick refresher on flip flaps if you don't use these often. This is tape that when you pull it off, there's going to be an adhesive underneath there. And you're going to open this, you're going to hold it so that the adhesive is on the top, because that's what's going to stick down when we apply it. So hold it so the adhesive is on the top, and you've got your pocket here. Now slide in the Believe so that it's facing, the Believe is at the top, because this is the top. Okay, so that is going to be the first flip flap. And let me just show you when you put it down. I'm not going to put it down yet. I will in a second, but I just want you to see what that's going to look like. So that goes first. Then there's a 3x4 flip flap at the top. And so in your kit, you've got your 3x4 flip flap. Let's open it the same way. You've got 2 PML cards. This one says Merry Christmas. And you're going to have to use the horizontal orientation. And this one is the trees. Now, you can do it if you want so that the trees are on the top. And when you open it, and I need to get it on the right side, it would be this way. The trees, you could journal on the top, and when you open it, then you have the Merry Christmas as opposed to how I did it. But I chose to do it the other way because I didn't want the Merry Christmas and the Believe together like that when it was open. So I did it. This is on the top. Okay, I always do that because it opens and you've got to make sure it's the right way. Okay, so I'm going to keep with the way that I did it. So I'm going to slide this in the flip flap. And then this is going to go, it's actually going to go under. I'll show you how I did this. So if you go like this right now, put them together just as a visual. If these were together and you stick them both down, then the bottom one's always going to be right up to the top of where that one folds. Okay, so what I would try to do, if you can't do this, it's not a big deal. But because my tape is going to allow me to lift this, I'm going to slide it underneath there. If you can't lift it, it's not to worry, because you can put it right here and you can still put your picture over the top of it. But since I know my tape is going to lift, I am going to apply, I'm going to put these together, actually, is what I'm going to do, since it's a waterfall. The tape is sticking to me. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to put these together. As you can see, I hope you can see. I'm just going to stick the top one carefully to the bottom, lined up. Okay, I'll fix the cards after. Then I have this lifted a little, enough so that I can line this up to the top of my photo mat, fold it over, and just stick the whole thing down at the same time. My hands are sticky. It'll go. Be careful. I know it'll go because I've done this a bazillion times. Okay, there we go. Now you've got both of your photo mats down on here, and they both will open and close. That one's a little crooked. All right, this is my bad, you guys. Sorry. I'm going to take this apart a little bit because I'm not happy with how that looks. And you can unstick these. You really can. I'm going to leave that stuck together. Let me try this a second time and make sure that that's in there good. I don't think I had the photo mat all the way up to the crease, and so it didn't lay right when I folded it over. Okay, that's going to be better there. So I do have to fix the cards though, because I noticed that the white is showing and I don't like that. So let me put that back in there. Okay, so now you've got Merry Christmas, you've got a journaling card, you've got Believe, you've got room for a photo, you've got another photo, and then the tree you can either put here or you can put on here, either way. Then this side, let me show you that together. This is actually the last page before the back cover. Let me pull this over a little. There we go. Put that back down. So on this page, I intentionally did not glue your flap down. So let's take this off. And here's the components of this page. I'm going to take this off and leave it separate, and this I'm going to leave separate. Pull this down a little. So this one has a built-in pocket from the craft paper, and it's right here. So I didn't glue this down because I wanted you to be able to get this striped paper, which is on the back, all the way underneath here, and then glue the edges of the pocket down. So I'm going to put this striped paper on first. And it's going to stick underneath this pocket. And depending on how much glue I did on that pocket, if it's coming over the edge, you're going to have to trim it. But I'm pretty sure that I had already accounted for that when I cut your paper. And so I think it's going to slip right underneath there. If you have to trim a little bit off the right, then you might have to, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be okay. So then, because this is a pocket, and you've got your tree paper that's going to go on top of the pocket, let's put that down first. You could have used this side if you wanted, but I was trying to carry the tree theme over from the other page. So let's put this down. And so now that's here, and the pocket, the thumb hole punch should line up the way that I cut those. It should line up. Then these are the PML cards. Then we might as well do this, which is just a couple of photo mats on top of that pocket. I did them straight. I think angled would also be cute. There's no reason why you can't do an angle on there. And I might do it on this one, just for some variation between my books. So then let's put the photo mats down. I'm gonna angle it. I'm gonna do it. Why not? There, that looks kind of cute, actually. And then you should have a sticker for this pink star right here. And let's put that down. If you're going to put a photo underneath there, then you either don't want to put the star down yet, or you're going to put a smaller photo, or you're going to put the star down and put a little bit of baking soda or baby powder to make it not sticky, or use a non-stick pouch to take the stickiness off the back. So because of that, I'm not going to put it down. Because I will do that later. And then there's a little arrow just kind of coming out of that, however you want to do that. Then you take your wet glue and just glue the edge of this pocket. You don't glue this part because you want to be able to use that to put either extra pictures in or some journaling cards or something that you want to include in the back of the book. Then you have this Picture My Life card, which has a lot of journaling room on the front, and I envision putting a picture on the back probably that will go. It's been cut to size so it'll fit in your pocket as long as you don't make that glue edge too thick. If you do, you just need to trim a little bit more. I would take it off the top because this wording is kind of pretty close to the bottom. And then this is the other journaling card that goes back there. Now, I think this is that second elf. So if you remember earlier, you should have another sitting elf. So it's the same elf that we're going to put in the shaker. And all I did was cut him in half. So I actually cut right on the gift line. And then I put the top of him, I glued it on the back of this PML card. And the bottom was glued on the PML card earlier. And I'll go back and show you that one as soon as I get this one finished. So these go back in here. And then this one, I added a sticker that said, I've been good. So that's this one. And the way that I put this one on, it kind of covers these two white banners, and I went pretty far over here. And then you either want to cut the edge, or depending on how you're going to use this, you can wrap this around, but you need to somehow eliminate that end of the banner. I'm going to put a photo mat, I think, on the back of this one, so I'm just going to leave that wrapped around like that. So I put that on there. And then you'll have the top of the gnome on the top of this one, if you decide you want to do that. Okay, and then the back, now as you notice, I did not get the ribbon underneath the back paper. That's why I had us do that as the very first thing, because I wanted to make sure that that you didn't have an issue like I did with mine. So your paper for the back, it's going to be short right here, but that's okay because that's what this piece is for, that we didn't do yet from the front. So you want to make sure that this is on really good, whether you use score tape or liquid glue. I don't think tape runner is going to be enough. I don't think it's going to hold it well enough as a cover. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my scored tape on here right now. And get this back cover on. Yeah, I like this one because it tears pretty easily. Just put a little in the middle. And tear all this off. And you want to start at the left side where the ribbon is loose, because where you want the gap needs to be near the spine. And this is very close to the edge, but there is a little tiny space there. Not big. Okay, so now we've got this. And the last thing, because we didn't do this before, now I'm going to come back to the shaker. Okay, let me put oh, this is the top. This is the top of that gnome, and I have him in this pocket right here. This green pocket is where I put him. You can do whatever you want with all of these tags and journaling cards. Okay, so I'm going to just move this out of the way for a second. And here's our shaker that now is dry. Now it's dry. So let me get the sample, put that here. So this little sitting gnome, he fits in this circle pretty well. Pretty well. Now some of them is going to be covered up when we put the silver glitter cover on. But there's sequins in here, so it's going to be covered anyway. I moved him a little to the left. You can position this however you want. And see, this is what happens with the markers. You always want to make sure that if you're going to use a marker, that you have a different piece of cardstock behind it, or this is going to show. So like if you were, let's say you had just a single layer card base and you put your marker on the front, it would show through when you open the card. So you always want to add another layer of cardstock. So I'll move them over just a little tiny bit, not much. Okay, there he is in there. Now, this is our base, and this is what's going to end up being attached to the front. Let me move this down now, to the front of the album. That's what that's going to do right there. So what I'm going to do though is build it and then attach it as it's all together. So I know that many of you have used shakers, but I want to make sure that I'm showing the process. So the next step is that we're going to put the adhesive on. So the way that these come is there's this round adhesive on the edge of the shaker that you need to just carefully kind of inch around so as to keep the circular shape intact. And it's sticky because it's supposed to be. So you just want to be careful as you're taking it off here. Kind of keep that circular shape. So inch it, just a little bit at a time off of the base. Now all of these stickers in the middle of this are great foam squares. So keep this because these are great as you want to add dimension to any other projects. Now carefully, and I say that because you really want to keep this circular, the circular shape of your shaker. So did you notice I just went around that very carefully here. Okay, then you have a little bag of sequins that came with your kit, and let's just put those. You don't need too many. You probably have extra if you want to place any in any other sections of your book. Now, where did my acetate go? It's here somewhere. Here it is. The acetate does have a film on one side, and because I don't have my pokey tool, I'm going to go get my pokey tool. So you work on this, and I will be right back. Okay, so I got my pokey tool, and I just poked it in, and I lifted this film off of that acetate cover for my shaker. Now, I also, let me set that back down, because you want to take the top of your sticker off.